Education in public and is not to be considered a public meeting. We do a roll call.
Ms. Anderson.
Present.
Mr. Kilgore.
Here.
Ms. Bryant. I'm also here.
Okay, can everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'd like to once again make a recommendation to approve Mr. Will Carter as Treasurer Pro Temp to fill in as Acting Treasurer for the July 8th, 2024 regular meeting. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second? 2 seconds. Second by Ms. Bryant. Can you do a roll call, please?
Ms. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore.
Yes.
Ms. Bryant. I abstain.
Okay, is there any discussion of the agenda?
Madam President, we need to amend the resignation list. We just received a last-minute resignation. Lori Rusink, an IS at the high school, would be added to the list. So that's on page,
And it starts on page 10, it looks like.
yeah, there's a lot. So if you want to add it at the end, page 14. LORIRUESINK. She is an intervention specialist at the high school. And the effective date would be July 8th.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion of the agenda? All right, could we have a motion to accept the agenda for the July 8th, 2024 regular meeting?
Second.
Can we do a roll call?
Yes. Ms. Anderson.
Yes.
Ms. Bryant. Mr. Kilgore.
Yes.
I too concur.
Okay, can we have a motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting held on June 10th, 2024, and the special meeting held on June 18th, 2024, as well as the minutes for the special meeting on June 28th, 2024? We have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion of those minutes? Roll call?
Ms. Anderson.
Yes.
Ms. Bryant. Mr. Kilgore.
Yes.
I too concur.
Okay. Do we have anything from the Mount Healthy Teachers Association? All right, is there any public input cards? No. For the members of the audience who do not wish to stay for the business portion of this meeting, now is the appropriate time for you to exit the meeting. Okay, so for the Great Oaks Board Report, we actually have our July meeting this Wednesday, and it didn't occur to me until I was on my way here that I had told you I would bring you the June highlights, because it was, I believe, 2 days after our last meeting. So next month I will bring the June and July. The meeting dates are falling kind of awkwardly now that we've moved our meetings, so I apologize about that. The Legislative Liaison Report.
Pass that down. All right, so I'm passing down to the board the legislative report. The Ohio General Assembly concluded its current session, so essentially they're adjourned for the summer. Bills of note, House Bill 629, Senate Bill 292, their companion bills set to maintain the statutory minimum funding of $600 million for K through 12 school construction. They include strategic community investment funds totaling $700 million assigned to specific projects which could benefit some school districts. Education deregulation bill, Senate Bill 168, proposed changes in teacher evaluations, licensure, and administrative procedures. This bill is poised for amendments and a potential vote. College Credit Plus program changes, Senate Bill 104, includes adjustments to programs including provisions for open source materials and shared costs for books alongside procedural changes when a student drops a course. Safety School Standards, Senate Bill 112, mandates that school buildings comply with specific safety standards. Teacher Professional Conduct, House Bill 147, addresses teacher licensure revocation and hiring practices, emphasizing conduct standards within the profession. And Staff Performance Policy, House Bill 214, requires schools to adopt policies concerning staff performance expectations without mandating personal beliefs or principles. So they're expecting those bills to pass. That's
Thank you,
the
Mr.
conclusion of my
Clement.
report.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the report of the treasurer. This will be once again read by Mr. Carter, who is acting as pro temp.
Mr.
Order.
Carter, I have the information if you want me to
Please.
read. Thank you. I do want to introduce with us tonight is Jennifer Sudoff. And she is part of Ryan Pendleton's group and is serving as treasurer for tonight. So she's going to start off with just an overview for us. And so I will turn it over to her.
Thank you. So there is no monthly balancing packet for tonight. We are still closing fiscal year end. Fiscal year end takes longer than the normal amount of time to close. So I'm working with Amy on some of those items, but we will get that closed and then there will be the packet in the next month. So as part of Ryan's group, we are really focusing on closing the year end, updating the financial reduction plan that's required from DEW. We're assisting with that. Updating the forecast that's due for August, and cash flow. We're doing an in-depth cash flow analysis. So those are our main key points. We're doing some onboarding with people this week, getting everyone up to speed. I'm here to meet all the staff this week, go through some processes, find out what everyone needs, gather some information that I need for a few financial pieces. We are, of course, going through the certificate of transition, making sure everything's covered. We have access to the bank accounts, et cetera. And then we are also doing a FTE audit from last year to this year. So we'll take everything that's, listed in the resignations and hires, and we're going to compare and look at the staffing level. And then that'll give us a good number for the August forecast. So we do have quite a few things we're looking at. We are definitely here for questions, and again, I'll be here this week. I can talk to anyone anytime, so.
Thank
If you
you.
have any questions, thank you.
Not so far,
Okay.
but I'm
Okay.
sure we will.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The first item on the agenda under treasurer is the recommendation to approve contracts over $5,000. And the contracts packet was sent. It's a rather thick packet. They are all listed there. One thing that we did want to note, because we are trying to not spend money on anything, there was money specifically given for wit and wisdom curriculum. And so we just noted that House Bill 33 set aside $64 million to subsidize that. As a district, we did receive the money, and so that curriculum is being bought, but that money can only be used for that curriculum. So we just wanted to highlight that, since we are being very careful with all of our expenses. So are there any questions over the contracts?
So this section A, that we will be voting to, this section A that we would be voting to approve would just be for the curriculum, then it looks like?
No. it would be all of these contracts that are over 5,000. And I can go through them if you would like. Okay. So they're listed on the spreadsheet. They start with EDU healthcare, for instance, at intervention specialist for special education. So it just goes through. So the contracts are listed in this packet.
Didn't I see that for like 40 weeks? Was that 40 weeks on that?
That packet that you have is purchase orders. This is purchase orders. At the bottom of this list where you see great minds, that's the wit and wisdom that I just mentioned.
That's really
Do we have any contracts in that packet that we would look at as being non-essential?
No. We went through and we removed everything that we felt could even wait. There were other curriculum purchases that would have been taken out of the general fund, and we put all of that on hold because we're trying not to spend anything. So, some of these are directly related to special education, and, they're noted. Best Point, special education, public school works is not special education, but that is what we use to keep our staff in compliance. So instead of hiring someone to come in and do day-long trainings, everything is in the public school works platform. So that actually saves the district a significant amount of money. And also we have the certificates and the timestamps of when people complete it. And so for $14,000, it's a great savings over if we brought someone in and asked teachers, to come in at different times for those trainings.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe those are all of those items. And then the actual contracts were provided as well.
So regarding the budget for this coming fiscal, and
The
I
next
heard that we're not-
FY25.
Right.
The year has to close out, and they are working on that right now. When the year is closed out, then I'll be working with the treasurer's office to look at the budgets. The commission has said that we have to have budgets in place by August. So this next month, we will be working on what the budgets are. As Jim mentioned, part of that is getting a good feel for the cash flow and, closing everything out, what's left, if anything is left, cash flow, then looking at the staff that we had last year in comparison to the staff that we have this year, which there is a significant difference in those two groups. So adding all of that in, looking at the foundation payments, looking at everything comprehensively, then creating the budget. But until the year is closed, we won't be able to start the next process because that has to happen first.
But those contracts will go on the floor of the next process.
They will be you're approving them tonight, but they would be part of fiscal year 25.
Right.
However, since most of them are special education, we
to-
really don't have a choice in that matter. You do have a choice with the wit and wisdom curriculum. However, we received money specifically for that. You also would have a choice with public school works. We do have to prove compliance and that we have given information on certain topics. And so even though it is a cost to the district, this is something we are mandated to do by law, and it is much cheaper than bringing in individuals.
Can we have a motion to approve contracts over $5,000?
So move.
Any additional discussion? We do a roll call?
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
Ms. Bryant.
Yes.
I too concur.
Thank you. Item B is the recommendation to approve purchase orders over $5,000, and they are listed on this form. Sometimes you may not need a contract for a purchase order. So that's why, sometimes you approve a contract and then the purchase order would follow. Other times there are items that you do not need a contract for. And you can see, as it's listed under fund, anything that says 001 does come out of the general fund. Anything that says, like for instance, conscious discipline, 584 grants, that is a charge, but it is coming out of grants, not the general fund. And we did try to look, and if anything was considered something that could wait until later, we tried to do that. Some of these vendors we are under contract with, and so that's why that is noted. The largest one, for instance, Peterman. And we are under contract with Peterman. Oh, thank you. All the 006s, which are at the bottom of the second page, are food service, and that's coming out of the food service account, so that is not impacting general fund. And then you can see some things say title. So title, that's money that we receive from the state of Ohio, so that would not be coming out of the general fund. So really everything that is coded 001, that's what is hitting the general fund and what we have to be extra careful about.
What is Hess Corporation? It's on the first page. It's item number 8.
Isn't that busing business for Hess?
The only Hess company I know of is a fuel company.
I'm not sure. It's 94,000. I think it is fuel. See spreadsheet for details. Hold on, we'll grab that. I think that may be fuel, but we'll get that.
I see quite a few of these special education expenses aren't approved. They say yes. Why wouldn't they approve special education expenses? Does it not need to?
What do you mean not approved? Under contract?
Yes.
Some of these don't require a contract. So you're approving them right now. So for instance, if you look, for instance, at Peterman, that is part of a contract. So we have yes here, but other items do not require a contract. So that's why we have no. So like for instance, in theory, Duke Energy is our provider of electric. In theory, we could cancel and go with somebody else. Where with Peterman, we are under contract with them for a number of years, and we could not just cancel that contract.
Yeah, I was just questioning where it says yes, but it doesn't say approved. And it comes out of the general fund for like a Medicaid program.
Oh, there's
gotcha.
say yes
What
approved,
item are you looking at?
and there's just say yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that just means somebody else typed it
No, okay.
in there.
Good answer.
Because we have a lot of people using the form,
Yeah.
so some just went yes and typed approve next to it, so.
That's, the Hess Corporation is direct energy.
We know what kind.
I think direct energy is that, part of your electricity
Yeah.
goes through a.
Like a subsidiary. And we can get more details on that. So for instance, food and beverage to feed students comes out of 006.
So based on what I'm seeing here, it looks like we're just evaluating page looks like page 2, the top of page 2.
All of these are POs that
Mhm.
you're basically saying yes or no to, because there are 001 charges
Right.
that go throughout the document. A lot of them are special education related. So, for instance, on the last page where you have 001 SPED, that's special education, speech and language services. You know, occupational therapy is linked to special education, physical therapy is linked to special education. Teacher of visually impaired services would be linked to special education.
So the only place where I see there's no's, saying, in other words, no to me means contract is not necessary, just the top of page 1.
Right, well, that, yeah, that's
So-
like Duke, like she said, Duke Energy wouldn't have a contract. There are no contracts for that.
So some of these things have a contract, but you as the board still have to approve them.
Yeah, so.
So we have
Can't cut
a,
off Cincinnati Bell, can't cut off Duke Energy.
right. So some things have, for instance, on the back, the special ed services, we do have a contract, but you're still approving the charges.
MediQuest is a special ed. Lines 14 and 15.
Mhm. In lieu of transportation?
Mm-hmm.
That's where if we pay people not to take our buses, and so that's the amount of in lieu of transportation payments. It's a cost savings, yes. And what'd you say, 15? Highland is our school insurance.
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
All right, can I have a recommendation, a motion for a recommendation to approve purchase orders over $5,000?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Is there any additional discussion, or did you need more time to look over the contracts, purchase orders? Okay, can we do a roll call?
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Ms. Bryant, Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
I too concur. Motion carried.
Thank you. Item C is the second voting. The last time we met, you approved for us to get information on a 3 mil levy. That was sent to the auditor, and we did receive that information back. So, Mr. Carter, did you want to read it, or I can read it? It's up to you.
I can read it.
Okay.
Resolution, item C, resolution submitting the question of an additional tax levy for the purpose of current expenses to the electors of Mount Healthy City School District pursuant to section 5705.21 of the revised code, whereas on July 28, 2024, the Board of Election of Mount Healthy City School District, the Board of Education, adopted a resolution pursuant to revised code 5705.03, declaring it necessary to levy an additional 3 mil tax levy for a continuing period of time for the purpose of current expenses. And whereas pursuant to section 5705.03 of the Ohio Revised Code, this Board of Education certified to the Hamilton County Auditor a copy of the aforementioned resolution requesting the county auditor to certify to this Board of Education the total current tax valuation of this school district and the dollar amount of revenue that would be generated by the 3 mills per year as specified in such resolution. And this Board of Education has received the certification of the county auditor that such total current tax valuation of the school district is $527,696. It looks like this is a misprint, because it actually says $527,696,130.
That would be what they would anticipate evaluation over time.
Over time, okay.
Right.
Oh, so it's not a misprint, okay. And that such dollar amount of revenue that will be produced by the state millage is $1,583,000 per year during the life of the levy, assuming that the total current tax valuation remains the same throughout the life of the levy. A copy of such certification is attached hereto as Exhibit A. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Mount Healthy City School District, with not less than 2/3 of its members concerning, Section 1, that it is hereby found, determined, and declared that the amount of taxes which may be raised in the school district within the 10 mil limitation be by levies on the current tax duplicate will be insufficient to provide an adequate amount for the necessary requirements of the school district. Section 2, that pursuant to the provisions of Section 5705.21 of the Ohio Revised Code, it is necessary to levy an additional tax in excess of such 10 mil limitation for the purpose of current expenses of the school district at a rate not exceeding 3 mils for each $1 of taxable value, which amounts to $105 for each 100,000 of the county auditor's appraised value for a continuing period of time. Section 3. That the question of the adoption of said tax levy shall be submitted to all the electors of the entire territory of the school district at the election to be held on November 5th, 2024. And if said levy is approved by a majority of said electors, such additional tax shall first be placed upon the 2024 tax list and duplicate for first collection in calendar year 2025. Section 4. In accordance with Revised Code 5705.21, Section C, and Revised Code 5705.25, the Board of Education submits that the form of the ballot to be used at said election by the Hamilton County Board of Elections is substantially as follows. Proposed tax levy, Mount Healthy City Schools District. A majority affirmative vote is necessary for passage. An additional tax for the benefit of the Board of Education, of the Mount Healthy School District, County of Hamilton, Ohio, for the purpose of current expenses that the county auditor estimates will collect $1,583,000 annually at a rate not exceeding 3 mils for each $1 of taxable value, which amounts to $105 for each $100,000 of the county auditor's appraised value for a continuing period of time commencing in 2024, first due in calendar year 2025. And then they have sections for the levy, and then the next line saying against the levy. Section 5, that the school district only has territory in Hamilton County, Ohio, and the treasurer of this Board of Education be and is hereby directed to certify a copy of this resolution to the Hamilton County Board of Elections with a copy of the previous resolution of necessity adopted by this Board of Education and the aforementioned county auditor certification not later than 4 p.m. on the 90th day before the date of said election, and to notify said Board of Elections to cause notice of the election on the question of levying said tax to be given as required by law. Whew. Section 5. This resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption. Section 5, that's Section 6. Section 7, it is found to be determined that all formal action of this Board of Education concerning or related to the adoption of this resolution was adopted in an open meeting of this board, and all deliberations of this board that resulted in such formal action were adopted in meetings open to the public, in compliance with all applicable requirements of the Ohio Revised Code.
All right, can we get a motion to approve? Ms. Bryant, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion on that levy? Okay, can we do a roll call?
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Ms. Bryant, Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
I too concur, motion carries.
Thank you. Item D is the recommendation to approve North Coast Shared Services Alliance to provide the interim treasurer services, contracted services, and to analyze and support Mount Healthy City School District's financial information. The total cost would be $75,000. If you recall, we discussed this when the contract was going through. This is just where the board is approving this amount of money, but they are not authorizing them to just spend $75,000. Anything that would be charged against the $75,000 would have to come to the board for approval. But it is putting it in place so that as they start working with all of our books, if they, for instance, need an enrollment study or something that is outside of their capacity or is needed to support their work, then the board would approve that against this $75,000.
Okay, we
This
have
was
a,
an NTE contract, right? Yeah.
we have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Ms. Bryant, second. Any discussion?
Kim Bryant.
Yeah, any discussion?
Oh,
I heard her.
I'm sorry.
Did you have any discussion? Amy? Okay, can we do a roll call?
Yes, Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
I too concur, motion carries.
Okay. Item 11, the superintendent's report.
Thank you. The first item is just informational. We are very happy to let everyone know that we did receive a grant, and that grant is in the amount of $141,731.76, and it specifically has been awarded to us to work with our students that are experiencing homelessness. So that is great. A lot of times, the grants that we receive in this area are linked to transportation. Transportation is a large cost to a district, so anytime that we can get a grant to offset that cost, it's a benefit to our general fund. The next item is the Hamilton County ESC. We did work with them on getting a new contract for our technology. If you recall, the board and the commission approved up to $350,000 to be used on this service. I am very happy to report, based on Jana working very hard on this, that the contract is coming in at $274,500, which is well below the threshold that was set of $350,000 in comparison to last year, which our contract was around $500,000. That is a savings of $225,500 from what we spent last year on tech services. So that was just an informational item to let you know that they did find the people that we needed, and it did come in below that threshold.
Cool.
Item B is the first reading for a recommended change on bylaws and policy. 3220.03, we want to rescind evaluation of teachers on limited contracts. That is, don't everybody get super excited and think that no one's getting evaluated. We are, several years ago, Ohio did change the law regarding evaluations. So we have been evaluating people pretty much every year. by Ohio law, if someone is accomplished, they don't have to receive a full evaluation every year. They just have to receive, we call it an informal evaluation. A formal evaluation, for those of you who may want to know, you start off with everybody does a growth plan, but then you start off with a pre-conference. The administration meets with the teachers. They go over their pre-conference plans. You then go into the classroom for a minimum of 30 minutes. You do your formal observation. Then you have a post-conference where you meet with the teacher, you sit down, you talk about what you saw. They may want to give additional evidence. Maybe they had a bell ringer or something like that they wanted to give evidence on. And then in addition to that, there's a walkthrough. That is half. Then you do that first semester, you do it again second semester. In second semester, sometimes you can do what's called an informal, which means that you don't have the pre-conference. It sometimes is called unannounced. You know, you can announce it, or maybe the administrator just goes in and sits down and is observing for 30 minutes and then would follow up with the post-conference. So we do have a lot of teachers who are in the skilled and accomplished, so they do not have to be evaluated each year. However, in our policies, there was still a remnant of an older policy that had never officially been rescinded. So we want to make sure and rescind that so that we can take advantage of the flexibility of evaluations. And our teachers are going to be very busy this year, so to give our teachers and administration a little reprieve in that we're following the law. So if you are skilled, every other year you have to go through the formal process. If you're accomplished, it's every 3 years. So we just would like to rescind this item and follow what's actually current in Ohio Revised Code. There's no vote on that. That'll be next time. Item C is seasonal employment. We did approve 2 people to work throughout the summer. One of them, unfortunately, had to have surgery, and the other one has taken other opportunities, so they were not able to help. In the summers, when we do a lot of extensive cleaning, moving desks, waxing floors, there's just a lot of work involved. And so we would like to recommend this person, Silas Roberts, at $19.38 per hour, and that is primarily because the other people were not able to work this summer.
Can we have a motion to approve? Ms. Bryant?
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the seasonal employment? Do you know the cost that we were supposed to be paying with the other 2? Is this roughly more?
There
or
were
less?
2. We can look at it similar in cost, but they're $19.20, and
For
that
2
was
of them?
no each.
Right, that's what I meant.
Right.
Okay.
And they were supposed to start at the beginning of June and go through the entire summer, and that hasn't happened.
Okay, so this will be the only person we plan to approve for the
Yes.
seasonal. Okay.
Just to help us in this. It's hard to believe it's basically a month until school is back in session. I know everybody sitting here is like, oh. So just to help us get ready before school starts.
Okay. Any additional discussion? Can you do a roll call?
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Ms. Bryant, Mr. Kilgore.
Yes.
I too concur, motion carries.
Thank you. The next item is employment, and we did want to note per Ohio Revised Code 3301-35, standards for kindergarten through 12th grade. It is defined in Ohio Revised Code that you are to have a ratio of teacher to students of 1 full-time teacher for each 25 students. So as we have put people on the agenda, we are certifying that that is to maintain that ratio. So if we have larger class sizes, you know, we have to bring back staff to maintain the 1 to 25 ratio. which is defined in Ohio Revised Code. And so the people that are listed here, we are asking you to approve their employment, and that ratio is in effect.
Okay, could I have a motion to reinstate the listed employment? Ms. Bryant, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Carter, is there any discussion? Can we do a roll call, please?
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Ms. Bryant, Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
I too concur, motion carries.
Thank you. The next item, item E, is the recommendation to reinstate the employment of the following certificated personnel. This would be a one-year contract, and these are people who would be coming in as intervention specialists. We have lost a lot of intervention specialists, and by Ohio law, you can bring people and give them an emergency license. These are people who worked in our school previously in the role of building sub. And right now, we really don't have any other choice but to try to work in that system to get people in the classroom to help in this capacity. Right. There is one person, Dr. Carter is replacing a sixth grade teacher, but most of them are intervention specialists except for that one.
Okay, can we have a motion to approve reinstatement of those employment?
So moved.
That employment.
Second.
Mr. Kilgore and Mr. Carter, any discussion? Can we do a roll call?
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Ms. Bryant, Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
I too concur, motion carries.
Thank you. Item F is the recommendation to issue a one-year contract for the following employees listed below.
We have a motion.
So moved.
We have a second? Ms. Bryant, any discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Ms. Bryant, Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
I too concur, motion carries.
Thank you. Item G is the recommendation to issue limited contracts to the following personnel, and this would be for a variety of positions. Some of them are noted pending paperwork. This time of year, we're trying to move quickly on hiring because, you know, we're getting ready to start school. If for some reason the paperwork did not come through, then that position would not be fulfilled. But as of right now, we have no reason to think that the paperwork will not come through. We just wanted to go ahead with the approval so that they knew they had a position with us for the next school year.
Okay. Can we have a motion to approve these positions? Ms. Bryant, a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I actually have a question. So it looks like some of these are teachers and other various positions. I want to bring them all on, but I have to ask, how does this reconcile with what the state and the commission is suggesting that we still have cuts to make?
Right. By law, we have to have a teacher for every 25 students.
So this is still part of?
It is
this
still
just
part of it,
adhering to
yes.
the law, so we're not gonna go over that?
We are
Okay.
not. So we have, Shayna has done a really great job making sure that we are in our ratios, and we are only putting and recalling people due to that 1 to 25 ratio.
Okay. Okay,
Unless it's something on the special ed
right.
spectrum.
Any additional discussion? We do a roll call?
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Ms. Bryant, Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
I too concur, motion carries.
Thank you. Item H is the recommendation to approve unpaid parental leave for the following employee. This would be for the 24-25 school year, and we do this from time to time if someone requests it.
Okay, we have a motion? We have a motion to approve? Ms. Bryant?
Second.
Mr. Carter, second. Any discussion? Would you roll call?
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Ms. Bryant, Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
I too concur. Motion carries.
Item I is to accept the resignation of the following employees. I'm going to say this section saddens me because there are a lot of amazing people on this list. Some in this very room are here tonight. And so we are losing a lot of really amazing teachers, and they are listed for you.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the resignations.
So moved.
Second? Ms. Bryant? Any discussion? We do a roll call?
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Ms. Bryant, Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
I too concur. Motion carries.
That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Dr. Hawkins. Are there any special orders? All right, item 13, any open discussion by the board? No? Okay, the date of the next Board of Education meeting it'll be a regular meeting, Monday, August 19th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Now we will be going into an executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official. It is 6:47 p.m. Can I have a motion to go into an executive session?
So moved.
Ms. Bryant was first. Mr. John was second. Mr. Carter. We do a roll call?
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Ms. Bryant, Mr. Kilgore,
Yes.
I too concur.
Okay, so we'll now go into an executive session, and when we return, there will be no voting items on the agenda. So you're welcome to stick around, but we will just return and adjourn.
Yeah.
Thank you.